to overturn it.
No, I understand, but you know, the issue of the access, the safety, is put squarely before us.
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask your question?
So it is your opinion that at this point we need the supermajority of the four?
If you're going to override the county recommendations, that would be done in the context of approving the variances with whatever conditions you would put on.
So which means we don't have that opportunity tonight.
Can you speak up just
We don't have that opportunity tonight.
Well, if you have at least one board member tonight saying that they want additional information or that they're agreeing with the county, you're not going to have enough to override tonight, because you'll have either a 2-2, which, by the way, you don't want a 2-2. A 2-2 vote under zoning law, on a zoning board law, is a denial. So you don't want to get to that point. So you want to
denial of what the variance is, or just
correct.
the recommendation from the county?
Well, it's both. Okay. So I mean, you can get to that point. So usually you don't. There's not a separate vote on this county stuff. It's usually done in conjunction with the granting or the denial of the variances.
Okay, so we don't have to specifically vote on this. We can move on to discussing the specific variances is what you're
Correct.
saying. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Let's see where the list of the variances again. Let's have it here someplace.
Yep. First variance is 116-16B2B. Variance from requirement that the accessory structure cannot be less than 10 feet from any lot line.
The amount of that variance again was?
I am not sure. The accessory, I think the accessory structures that were up against the only accessory structure that was up against the lot line was a storage rack, right? Is that right?
I believe so.
Is that correct? There's one storage rack being removed and one that was up pretty, it looks like it's touching the property, so it kind of is a full 10-foot variance on that one, right? You want me to go through all of them, or just one by one?
Let's go through one by one, I guess. It's kind of the best way. That way we can address each thing.
So you guys know these standards, so you could point out any issues or questions you have with regard to any of these. But if you look at the plan here, the rack is right there.
Yeah,
On the side.
Yeah, on the sides, just touching that. The heavy black line is the property line. So that's necessitating that.
Now you said 116.2B?
116-16B, 2, little b.
And this structure shall be set back less than 10 feet from the lot line or 10 feet from the principal building.
It Say that again?
It's, no such structure shall set back less than 10 feet from any lot line, nor less than 10 feet from the principal building.
Right, now, the principal building one is the next one. What I have is 16, I don't know my code, I don't have the code here.
116.16B2B.
Yeah, variant, I have there variance from the requirement that accessory structure cannot be less than 10 feet from any lot.
Accessory structure. Which structure is set less than 10 feet from the principal building?
Right.
And that would be on the side.
Yeah.
Right, but the principal building is the house.
Yes.
So where is the rack that's less than 10 feet from the house? Yeah, but that deals with the structure, so distance to the principal building.
Let me see that.
Oh, that'd be very long.
It's not this part of it, it's the first part of it. No structure shall be set back less than 10 feet from any lot line.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's just that simple. Okay.
Yeah. The building part doesn't apply.
Okay.
Okay, so,
So the variant, is that the 1 foot variance on the side, is that what the, shows? What's the specific variance that needs to be granted for that that's being requested?
well, the rack is shown here. It's either a 1 foot variance, it's touching the, it looks, according to the map, and there's the thickness of the line, it looks almost like it's touching the property. So it's either a half foot or a foot. What is the quantity of variance on that rack? Is that a 0? Is that a full 10 foot variance? Is that right on the lot line?
No. So it's a foot off, so
A
it's
foot off.
a 9 foot variance.
So it's a 9 foot.
So the variance is, okay, thank you.
Okay.
So the merits of that, you know, I mean, we can address these one point at a time, at each point, see if we feel comfortable with that or not, yes?
Yeah, because it was in the definition that rack is considered an accessory building.
Yes,
Accessory
that was
structure.
correct, right?
Structure.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
Does anyone have a problem with that particular? No? I don't either. So we can consider that variance okay.
Okay.
Well, we can move on.
We can move to the next one, yeah.
Variance from requirement that no accessory structure can project closer than the principal building. The whole farm stand is closer than the house. That's just it. There's no distance, it's just whether it's closer or not closer.
I thought it was 50 or 50 feet, whichever is less. Isn't that how it's worded?
You have the code.
Okay, let me take a look. Yeah, I thought it was 50 feet, whichever is less.
And did we not, just for clarification, last time we talked, or maybe the time before, we talked about the farm stand too. I mean, the idea of having the farm stand is being
I think
closer
that-
to the road
I
anyway.
think the point there was that the farm stand law is intended to put the farm stand near the highway.
Exactly.
Well, it's 20
So
feet.
that
like you
alleviated
said.
that problem that the farm stand.
Well, I mean, it's, the intent was, it's hard, it would be hard to, it might be hard to comply with something like this where, you would, if you're doing it in a residential district, you wouldn't expect the house as a principal structure to be that close to the highway, right? It'd be set back on the driveway.
I'll point out, I know, Ralph, you're looking this up. Item number 4 deals with the 20 feet. I think this particular one just deals with whether it's closer or not.
Correct.
So, you know, considering that it's supposed to be a farm stand and that we have the farm stand law in effect, I personally don't have a particular problem with the idea that this is closer to the road than the principal building. I mean, that's what a farm stand is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be, you know, it doesn't make sense to me that it would be in the backyard, you know. Does that make sense?
I mean, it could be anywhere.
Well,
really.
yeah.
I don't think that's in the farm stand law.
That's an accessory building, that's where that came from.
Yeah, there's something in the farm stand law specifically about that.
And also, the topography of the lot makes it necessary for it to be.
Pushes everything forward.
Yeah.
So am I hearing that there's no issue with that one?
I mean, it should be the same page as this, it should be just D. The same page I had before, but instead of B, just 2 items down. Yeah, E.
Yeah, okay, or if you have 450 feet, whichever shall be less. Okay.
Right. So I personally don't have a problem with this idea. Do you guys?
But the farm stand is in front of the building?
Right.
The house.
The house.
That, yeah, principal building.
Yes, no? You don't?
No problem.
I don't know.
So we don't have a problem with that?
I mean, I don't
Okay.
think that affects the health welfare.
No, I don't think it does either.
Let's skip over 3 for a minute, because I think it would be better to isolate out these smaller ones first.
I would agree.
Yeah, so we go to 4.
Well, let's go,
Okay.
we'll do 5 and then 4. and then
Okay,
3, right?
very good.
Because 5 is just a 1-foot side yard, variance.
1 foot variance from side yard requirements, and
This had to do with removing the rack, as I recall, on that one side, right? Which you guys have done already or will be doing? It's done. Okay.
so, I'm sorry, is that no longer needed, that variance?
No, I think we needed the 1-foot variance with the rack removed.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, in other words, when the rack is gone, I think you still need the 1-foot variance. Yes.
Where is it, where exactly is that one located?
The front.
Is that off the house?
It's the front right side, correct?
Yes. Because the parking will extend out to where the storage rack was.
I gotcha. So it's from the edge of the parking to the lot line? Right.
It's 9.6 feet according to this.
Yeah, there should be 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Is that it?
That's right.
Right.
Okay.
And I think we needed to remove the rack to fit that, to get that, correct? Yes.
Okay. So is that actually a 9.6? Is that actually a 4-inch variance or is it a 1-foot variance?
6 inches.
6 inches, I'm sorry. Huh?
6.
6 inch variance? Okay.
Is that considered a substantial, very substantial, very
Not-
substantial?
Not in my world, but I've seen crazier. In Woodstock, yes.
We have a very reasonable community next door, let's keep the peace.
And there's no reporter up there, no?
There is.
Oh, oh, okay, hi.
You got 2,000 people watching on television.
Okay. I guess not. Okay. So,
So we're good with that one,
Yeah.
guys, everybody?
Fine.
Yeah. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. 4 is the requirement that accessory farm stand structures cannot be closer than 20 feet to the street line. this comes from the farm stand portion of the code, yes, the farm stand law.
Pre-existing, so I don't have a problem with it.
Pre-existing what?
What's that?
What's it pre-existing?
It's there.
With that?
It's there.
Oh, pre-existing, well,
Well,
yeah.
part of
That's
it.
why we're here. It was done without, without coming to us first.
That's another thing we should clarify. You can't, the part of this that was approved legally is pre-existing. The part of this that was not legal is not
That's
pre-existing.
pre-existing. And they're gonna move this back here.
But this was a
You
full
want-
20-foot variance, correct?
Or that part of the building plus the one.
Yes, it would be.
So what was the question?
This is a 12, this farm stand is right on the property line, so it's the full 20-foot variance.
Yes. You were removing the awning, is that, as I recall, is that correct?
The orange in the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, we normally take them down all the time. We just didn't take them down this spring. We normally do take them down. We will take them down.
Plus, there's a section of the building to be removed to 3.2 feet of the building. That's what I'm saying. At least that's what you show on the drawing there.
There's a corner, encroaching corner right there.
Yes.
Over
Yes,
the
that
building
would,
line.
that would have to be removed.
The whole thing.
So if we grant that full 20 feet, would we have a contingent part that says, and removing that 3.2 feet, that encroaching corner?
Put the
Or
building beyond.
Right, I mean, one of the conditions will be that it'll have to comply with the site plan as presented. So that takes care of that issue,
Okay.
as well as the removal of and all the other, the awning, the rack, the whole business. The question here is, you know, you have a full 20 feet, so that
Yeah.
there's a substantiality issue there. And,
Well, obviously, the other option is to have something less than a 20-foot variance, which would require further modifications to the building.
See, to me, a lot of it, for the two you know, I would consider this a fairly substantial one, and certainly the one we're going to go back to, a substantial one. And again, whether you can overcome the substantiality issue is partly a function in my mind of whether the safety issue is resolved. So if this site plan presents a safe operating structure as safe operating structure as said by the DOT or some expert or both or whatever, you know, then that's one consideration. If the DOT doesn't want something like this is probably going to change anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's going to alter anyway. So it gets a little bit more complicated in that sense.
So then you can see what the DOT's going to inspect. You know, because they might change this whole thing.
Sorry, Kate, you had a question for the attorney?
Yes,
Yes,
so
sir.
what you're saying is, we need to wait to see what the DOT's.
I say this-
That-
yeah, this
It might
20
change whatever we're
The
discussing now.
20-foot
might
issue,
change.
exactly. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this thing, you know, in terms of the curb cuts, and that could alter the plan. And if you alter the plan, that could alter the variances. Now, sometimes that's not an issue, because if the variance is altered, as long as they're not creating greater variances, you know, but here, again, we're at that point where we have this link between, everything is together on this plan. All the access points, the parking, and the facility itself is all integrated. So you're looking at the issue of whether, you know, that the way this is currently set up and designed and proposed on this plan operates in a safe manner. And we're waiting on that information, so.
Larry, question, are you suggesting also that, let's say we went ahead with some kind of approval, and it goes to the Department of Transportation, and they come back and say, we don't like this, and we're gonna make changes. It might have to come back to us anyway, is what you're saying?
Correct.
what do you guys think of the 20-foot variance?
Well, if the variance is granted and the DOT says it's got to be moved back, that would override the variance anyway, is that correct?
Yeah, it would be a lesser variance, yeah.
But I mean, that would be,
I mean, you get to, if it's a lesser variant, I would say it should come back because you want to have a record of what they actually, of what the variance actually is. There ought to be a record somewhere and a determination of what this variance comes. So if you were to grant a variance based on this plan, and this plan were to change, I would say that you should get it back and re-review this to, you know,
Right.
to deal with the changes. So, I mean, again, the 20, I don't know, you know, I don't know how much of this was up against the property line when it was 10 by 10, you know.
Do we even know, could you even identify on the map where the original plot was? I don't even know if you can.
10 by 10?
Yeah.
Right there by, right in front. So,
What do you think of the
right here.
You know, I think bumping up against, I mean, this seems kind of superfluous without an expert opinion on the rest of it, from the DOT. I really feel that, I think we're kind of spinning our wheels, continuing out here to see an impartial expert about the ingress, egress, safeties, and then work from there. And then I can make recommendations to, you know, what I feel about what we have a more concrete plan here that
You mentioned something about DOT also just a few minutes ago. How do you feel about this?
Well, what he's saying is if we agree on this specific variance at this 20-foot one here, and the DOT comes back and they want a certain size curb cut there, that would change everything anyway. Right, I understand that. So what we're doing here, you know, we're really not doing it, accomplishing anything.
So would you agree with Rolf that we're kind of spinning our wheels on this?
But then again, one other question, that the DOT they mentioned, is that set in stone? I mean, I know they usually want curb cuts, but they mentioned.
I don't know if it's set in stone.
Okay, but when they said blacktop, because I mean, blacktop I think would be excessive in this form. I mean, that's not gonna change safety in any way, having blacktop or no blacktop. The curb cuts, I understand, it controls the egress and ingress.
Right.
Blacktop, that would have no bearing on it.
I don't know, we don't
I
even
think that would be
know,
an excessive.
we don't even know sitting here that this is the design in accordance with DOT. Nobody said that. You can ask them.
How do you feel about this 20-foot?
well, again, I think it should be contingent on the site plan. It has to go back out. But, you know, when I'm, get to the next stage, I don't see the 20-foot, the initial request for the 20-foot was because of the building that he can't move with that. And I think he'd be able to do is take part of the building down. That would be part of the hardship for that application.
But it is certainly a self-created hardship.
Well, yeah,
In the most egregious sense, or the most blatant sense.
So, I mean, where you're at right now is that you have no issue with 1, 2,
5.
and 5. 3 and 4 are you're waiting for additional information from the DOT or some other expert source that demonstrates that the access is designed and proposed on the plan will safely operate. That
That's what I would like to
basically
see.
is where we are.
Street to building.
Do you want to continue to keep the hearing open in order to, so you can formally receive that into the hearing record?
Yeah, do we want to even discuss 3 at all? Because we seem to be stuck here on 2.
If, well, if
I mean,
there's
on 4
any
rather.
other, if there's any other issue in 3 other than the relationship to the access, you ought to get that out as well. So,
If the access needs to change.
So 3.
Has to be changed. There's has to change then.
Yeah.
number 3, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, number 3 is area computation. And the allowable farm stand area is 2,686.9 square feet. The proposed use area for the farm stand is 5,773.04 square feet. So the variance that they're seeking is 3,086.14 square feet.